Welcome to Chronic Curiosity, where real people have real discussions, unscripted and raw, about anything to everything. If you enjoy the show, we ask that you follow, subscribe to the channels, all those things. Also, if you would like to support the show monetarily, you can do so by going to the website chronic-curiosity.com. At the bottom of the page, you can donate in dollars or Bitcoin, or you can go to the shop and purchase some curious merchandise that just happens to be fantastically comfortable. Also, if you'd like to connect with the show, please feel free to shoot us an email, comment on whatever platform you're using, or you can join the forum that is also at chronic-curiosity.com. Interact, ask questions. Let's have some fun. And here we go.
The first time I've done that.
No, we good now? No, we're good?
We are solid.
No, we're good?
Rolling.
Cool.
Can't we lead that into a song too?
Limp Bizkit. That's true.
Yeah. Uh-oh, we already did one of those episodes.
Did we? The Limp Bizkit? Oh,
no.
You just
I just quoted music the entire time.
Yeah. Well, let's hear that or ridiculous movie quotes you fucking throw at me.
Gotta have humor.
Keep the attention.
What's life without humor, right?
Agreed.
Cool. Well, thanks for... Finally.
Yeah.
Finally. I don't know if he told you how many times I've tried to get you guys on.
He's said a few times.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, no.
It was later on, though. Like, it wasn't... I was like... Because if I'd have told her, she'd be like, we need to go do it. But
I'm like, let's go.
That anxiety level. I just got to get a control on things.
Yeah.
Just gotta get a feel for it.
Yeah,
Warm up to the
grasp it.
water.
Yeah. I don't like to dive into anything. We already talked about it, but...
Yeah, but apparently you do. So, which is super interesting.
Yeah.
Kate and Kyle, thank you for joining us. So you started the whole Fife's auto detailing.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of struck me as, because obviously we've known each other for a while, but, and we talked beforehand, you both are kind of very calculated.
Yeah.
And, whatnot. But you just basically, it seemed like it was like, you know what? Screw this whole career thing. I'm just going for it.
Truthfully, it was planned out over a couple years as well. Like, with her being in school, I was the only one working, so I was investing money. I'm like, work smarter, not harder. I'm trying to get out of this cog, this, the system.
Right.
The rat race.
Yeah. I don't want to be a part of it anymore. So crypto started taking off, and I've picked at Ether. When it takes off, I pay off things. That was our goal, was I was slowly just picking away at our debts. School loans were paid off. We got the truck paid off. All we have is a house and the Blazer. And if they want it, they can come get it. If I can't find a way to make those payments anymore, you can have it. Like, that's just, we're done playing the game. I don't want to be, we don't want to be a part of that rat race anymore. I don't.
There was an aspect too of it of being tired of working for somebody else also.
You can pull it up. You can move it around.
That you
wherever you're comfy.
are, I don't know, we wanted to work for ourselves, have that power and the liberty to do what we wanted to do.
Flexibility.
That's a big one.
And so it just kind of worked out.
It just kind of happened. You just kind of stumbled and finally just was like,
Well, I mean, I love detailing. I've got a lot of hobbies that like most people would consider chores. Like, my typical hobbies aren't
like house cleaning.
I love mowing.
really love cleaning the house.
Yeah.
Seriously though, like it's relaxing to me. It's something about it's dirty and now it's clean and I feel better about it, and
gratification of watching dirt disappear. Like, it's
I can't explain it, but it is. It's relaxing to me, cleaning the house, doing laundry, sitting there folding laundry. Like, it's not a tedious chore to me. I don't mind doing it.
We're wired different. I don't know. Like it, but I enjoy mowing. I enjoy detailing. I like watching that filthy vehicle just come back to life, and it's the gratification. And I'm not a big people person. We all know that. Like, I have a very selective hearing or group of people, and that, like, I stick with them. I don't venture out much. It's not because I'm not rude, or I think you guys know, like, I'm just quiet. Like, very misunderstood, I think, is probably the best way
Going
to
deep on us.
Yeah. But everything you see is surface level. You don't get to see the deep, the funny side.
Who you are.
Yeah, you guys have seen
Oh, yeah.
but
That's all you get it.
I don't remember where I was going with that now though.
There's a gratification and
Oh.
a satisfaction out of taking something that's so dirty, and then it's almost like those pimple popping
Ooh.
videos that you
No,
don't
I
want
don't know
to
if I can
watch.
get gratification out of that.
But you're like,
She
I'm
went
not saying it's
30. That was-
necessarily
No, I know what
gratifying,
you're saying.
but the aspect of like people are like, oh, that's so disturbing. But and you know, some people they just don't enjoy watching or washing their car or cleaning out their car. And there's a satisfaction that at least I know I get out of it that, you know, it's something that was so dirty and now we've made it nice again.
Right.
And something that somebody can appreciate again and see value in again. And
But it's my way of giving back. That's where I was going with that. Was like that's how I give back to the community. Is like I try to provide a decent service or a great service for a decent price. Like I want you to come back. It's my way of giving back to the community, providing something to the community without having to like be the center of attention and like rallying against. Does that make sense?
Right. I get what you're saying. Well, I think too.
I can do it in the background without being the center of attention or trying to be the focal point of world. Cause I don't
Right.
I don't like to be the center of attention. I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
You're given a good product at an individual level that people can appreciate.
yeah.
And that you appreciate doing.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a big piece. Because I can totally understand the feeling like a cog. Because I've had jobs before where it's, you know, when everything is so structured, you know, you clock it, you have to clock in at 6 a.m. And
Yeah.
if it's 6 a.m. in 1 second, oh, sorry, you're late. That's tardy. That's a mark on your record. And it doesn't matter how good of a job you do. And when you're part of these big companies, which obviously big companies are a necessary evil because there's a lot of people on this planet, but it's even if you're doing something, because I've had jobs that working for a company like I do something that's good that, you know, helps the community out in
Right.
a lot of different ways. But even then doing something for yourself and being able to look back, you know, after that day's work, whatever, and go, oh, this is what I did. Because I can show you.
Right.
This is what it was, and this is what it is now. We're like working that job for that corporation, you know, 40 hours a week, whatever it is. Like, it's hard to be able to pinpoint after each day. Oh, this is what I did. Well, I went to work and I sat in this meeting and then, you know, I filled out this paperwork that I had to do and then I got this but the whole company does this every day. Like the whole company, you know, provides, I don't know, you know, water to your household or whatever it is.
Right.
Like the whole company, like, but when you go to work and you leave and you're like, what did I do today? I don't know.
Yeah, tangible results. Like there's something to be said about that. And I remember like that's why I enjoyed cutting down a tree so much.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that you're talking about. It's the same thing with cleaning a house. Like it's one way and now you saw something change. It doesn't take a year to see that change. And, you know, I actually get to see that in medicine to a small degree where sometimes you just never see that. But I can appreciate and understand all that. And that's cool that there's other people that like to see some tangible results right in front of them as they're changing with their own hands.
Well, like you said, it's rewarding. So I totally get, I totally get where you're coming from because that's,
And we're a society that like we strive or we thrive on like gratification. So that's like instant gratification in a positive. It's not
Yeah.
like
Right,
body
it's not-
negative of
yeah.
you know,
Or I bought the stuff off of Amazon and it got
Right.
delivered to me. That's it's like that's
Right.
where people get maybe that's where people get gratification now because it's like they buy something. It's like
Right.
I didn't have it, now I do. How cool is that? Like, but also I'm paying 20% on my credit cards and I'll
Yeah.
never be able to pay it off.
Right.
But how did you get to that point? Because that's the curious thing for me is seeing people's journeys to like, because I have lots of hobbies and so I can totally relate to that. Like there's times where I don't do it too often, but I'll pick up like really in-depth, not even jobs because I don't get paid for them, but like if, you know, a family member or something like has a car that breaks down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, bring it over and I'll take a look at it. And it's like, I can see it like in Cass's eyes where she's like I can see her like, well, there goes your entire weekend. Like, you kind of know that, right? And it's kind of like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
But then like when I have this car, like, and I fix it, and it's like, oh, here you go. Like, what do you need? I'm like, nothing. It cost me, $30 for the parts, and
Right.
It's just something to be like, hey, this thing was broken, and now it's not, and now there's like a tangible like change.
Right.
But that's kind of like a hobby thing. How did you get to the point where you realized I can't do this anymore, and now I'm just gonna say,
Well, I'm not educated, so I didn't have it. I don't have a degree to fall back on. I still got bills to pay, so I got to get it done. Like, that's just my attitude. You got to pick something, you got to run with it, and that was a passion. I enjoyed doing it. Really got into like the paint correction and like the buffer work last summer, and I just kind of headphones in, just going to town. Like I get lost. Like it's peaceful. That was it. I was like, I'm comfortable doing that. That I know that there's money to be made there, and there's a market for it. Let's jump in. And there's 4 of us like right off of Route 3, and there's plenty of business for everybody. The market's there. You just got to play in it.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to take the risk. I got tired of playing the safe life. Like all my bets have always been like
The sure bet. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not living. It's not exciting. I need something more exhilarating, and I got to be motivated, and I feel motivated to do this again. That I fell into the system, and I was no longer motivated. I felt like I accomplished what I was supposed to accomplish, and there was more hunger there, but there was nothing else to grasp at.
There's no reason to do
Right.
it. So you taking the risk. We were obviously talking before we started that you also said, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. Just jump out. Like, are you guys planning on like, I mean, obviously don't have to get detailed, but like, is it just, hey, we're just going to figure it out, whatever it is that we enjoy doing. And like, cause you recently basically said same thing to your corporate kind of job and said, hey, peace out. I'm done. And I know you said that there's a lot of different things that added up to that, but it's still the end result's the same, where it's now you're both out there without the safety umbrella of the corporation. Yeah. And just living.
There's a dynamic to this job also. Like you're not doing the same thing every day. It's not like with Kyle at Morton, walking there, hang a bag and pour salt and you're on to the next one. It's not the same repetitive thing. Yes, it's cleaning a car, but every car is different. They're all different in the way they clean and
services that you're providing. It's not always the same. Like everything's constantly changing, and one day you don't have work, and then the next day there's 3 different vehicles rolling. Like it, and you just take it as it's coming right now.
I think it's just something we both really enjoyed doing. Like even in our own cars before we started the business, we both really enjoyed detailing cars. We like to be out there cleaning our vehicles, taking care of them, whether it be inside or outside. And so it just, I don't know, it kind of happened. It felt natural. And he obviously took the first leap in starting it and getting the ball rolling. And
but to answer your question, like she's completely going off topic. But
I mean, that's what this is all about. There is no topics.
Go wherever you want.
There's no
love it.
topics. Yeah.
like just that is like we're truly just free floating right now. Whatever comes in, comes in. We're taking it as it comes, and if something, we're not turning away any other opportunities. Like we're taking life as it comes. Like it's the first time we've ever just let it come to us and enjoy the now,
Right.
you know.
I think there's something to be said for that too. That's
Just-
really not fascinating, but like exhilarating.
Yeah.
Because we are nowhere. I will say I'm nowhere near like the level of just being like, screw the job. Like
Yeah.
we're just gonna go for it, you know. But we kind of did, in a sense. Tony's been a really good influence on me with this too. Is like doing this right here. It's like, you know what? Like we just started it, and it was like, well, we have these mics we're singing into and making music that we're not really doing anything with. So
I see a mic. I see some drums.
yeah, rock the fuck out of them drums, Dale.
Did you touch my drum set?
Yeah. But it was like, all right, let's start it. And it was like one of those things like, just do something.
Yeah.
Or not do something and just step away and just, you know, take it as it comes. And we've talked a handful of times about Cass doing, you know, her, you know, physical training things and all the things that she's doing. And it's like, at some point you just got to live.
Right.
And just go, you know what? Here we go. Like, I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. And it's nice to like, just live.
Well, I think there's even that commercial out right now where it's like there's a bunch of people sitting around a table and they're all different ages of the same person, and it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
well, what if I make this decision? And this kid, like,
Yeah.
well,
Those
we
are
got this
actually really good
future, and
commercials.
This other guy, well, we got retirement in 5 years. Everybody has all of these what ifs.
Right.
When do we stop letting those what ifs control us or stop us from living and taking those chances and being exhilarated and alive?
So I've spent a lot of my life just extremely reserved, and again, everything that I've done was always a thought process, and I felt like I've held myself back in a lot of situations and opportunities that could have been there that are no longer there, or you just grow up and it's gone. It is what it is. I was like, I just can't. I don't want to live my life with that regret that I didn't take the chance that I should have taken and knew it, and then you just continue to live that regular rat race, and then you retire and you're like, wow, I didn't get to do anything that I wanted to do, or I should have done that when I was 40 years old. And
we both looked back on like the last, I don't know, couple years of our lives, and we're like, what happened? Like, where
Where'd it
did
go?
this time go?
Right.
It just went by so fast. Like, life is flying by, and it to some extent felt like life was moving so fast that I wasn't even in control of where it was headed. I was just grabbing at whatever I could, trying to stay on board. And so it got so chaotic in that aspect that you can't do it. You can't live like that. You can't live in that environment, and or I couldn't.
Yes,
And that
plenty of people
stress
do.
and-
Yeah.
Personally, it wasn't healthy. Like, I was getting to a point where I was not operating at a healthy stress level. I've never been short fused. I had a temper. Anything would set me off. I'd wake up angry and frustrated and hopeless. And I was like, I can't do this. This isn't me. What has my life become?
is she snapping at me? And she never snaps. Like the woman
Like, I am the
does
one
not
that's
snap.
slow to
Like-
anger. Like,
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah, I don't know if
makes
I've
me
ever
mad.
seen
It's-
Kyle even raise his voice. So like,
she looks at, or she says what she said. I'm like, oh, bad day today. Like,
it just became unhealthy for me to keep operating at that stress level, and I couldn't leave it at work anymore. I was bringing it home, and it was starting to consume my life outside of work, and I just couldn't do that anymore to myself. I mean,
been there. I feel like most people have been there at some point, and I think a lot of people don't realize it, because how many times have you heard people like just getting out of bed and it's like, fuck,
damn,
I gotta go to work.
Yeah.
I gotta go to this job. I remember the first time that I realized it was, I had a job that when I woke up in the morning, it wasn't, I didn't have that first thought in my head wasn't, fuck, I gotta go to work. It was, oh man, I'm tired, but
right,
yep, gotta go to work.
Right.
Like, and I wasn't in a bad mood from the second I woke up. And when I realized that, it was, holy shit. What have I been doing up until this point? Like, I wake up miserable. Like,
was it because you hated your job or hated being part of the system? Like,
well, it was because I hated all it. Like,
Okay.
it was because like the job's,
just terrible management.
just terrible.
Yeah.
But the first time, and then eventually I grew into like, why, I'm, like I said, I'm not to your point yet. I haven't quit my job, but
And I don't
realize like being part, like not everyone has to do, some people really enjoy going and, whatever it is, being a lumber yard worker and loading lumber all day. Some people, like, that's great if you enjoy it. But if you're in a place where you don't enjoy, or even it's like, I've said this to myself before too, where it's, I finally got a job and I was like, well, I could see myself retiring from here.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all out of necessity, not out of desire.
Right.
So then, even then, when like I'm saying that in my head, thinking like, oh, this is really cool that I'm at a place that I feel like I could retire from, or whatever it might be, or like I don't hate going to this job. Still, it's like, wait a minute, that I've been conditioned at this point to where that's a good thing.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I don't hate this.
Yeah.
Like what? Like I didn't say, man, I love this job. It's, well, I don't hate this.
Right.
Like, so like
you tolerate it.
Right. So that's what I spend, minimum 40 hours a week doing.
Right.
I spend more time doing that than I am, with my family or doing the things that you enjoy doing. It's like when you realize like I'm spending more time on average doing something that, well, I don't hate it,
Yeah.
than anything else. When you have that realization, it's like, okay, maybe I need to do something different here.
I think a lot of it, like we just fall into the rut of, we got bills to pay. So
You
we
have
do
to.
it because people rely on us. They rely on us to provide food, and family needs, they need food, they need shelter, dogs need fed. Like we fall into that system, and you just,
Yeah, and sometimes it's, well, I gotta have that new car, I gotta have that new boat, or I gotta have
Always
this.
got to keep up with the Jones.
Yeah.
well, we went through a phase, and it wasn't to keep up with anybody, but
I mean, those things are nice. I like boats and motorcycles.
well,
and
vacationing,
Yeah.
like that was our thing. Like twice a year we'd go to Mexico and just go spend that week. But even that it was such a regulatory thing that it wasn't even fun anymore. It was like, we have to do this because it's a part of our routine. I'm not anti, I don't want anybody to think like anti the entire system or the government. Like I'm anti being told what to do and being controlled. And those are the things that I'm not okay with. I don't hate the system or the people that work in the system. It's just,
And I think for the system, it works for some people. Some people are happy with, working their 9 to 5, or they find a job that they're truly happy at and they're truly passionate about. But that wasn't where we were at. We were in a different situation where we were at jobs that we were unhappy at, and we needed to make a change. And luckily we found ourselves in a situation where we were able to take those leaps and make some of those opportunities happen, or take advantage of some of those opportunities, I guess you could say. And we kind of found ourselves here, and what the future holds, we're not 100% sure, but
it's
Oh,
fun.
no, it is.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Or those people, they think they're happy because they've never stepped outside of their box like you guys did and tried anything else.
or they're bound by maybe they have kids
Yeah,
or family or
obligations.
other
Yeah.
circumstances that they're not in a position where they can take those chances. We were in a situation where we were fortunate enough to be able to make that leap, and
I was basing my success at Morton off of how much money I made each year. Like overtime turned into it was a challenge for me. If I could pick it up, I was going to take it. There was a time in our lives where we needed it to pay, to get ahead, to get out of school loans, all that. Like everything that we've done has always been just get out of this mess so we can enjoy happiness on the
Get out of this
yeah.
mess so we can get into another.
Right. But that became my satisfaction. I'm like, I'm chasing a dollar sign now. This is not healthy. This is
Right.
not going to lead me anywhere but miserable and hunched over by the time I'm 45 or 50 because I've worked my life away.
Right.
I'm done chasing a dollar sign. We're concerned about our mental health now. Like we've taken physical health. That's always been a priority to us. We got some other habits we need to kick.
Everyone does.
But outside of that, like the mental health thing that's where we're focused at now. I'm listening the body waves, ride the wave, the vibes, keep them coming. Like if it's positive, we're all about it. And we're just rolling with wherever the tide's taking us right now. And it's nice. It's just carefree and it's relaxing. And like you brought up that it would make you anxious. And at first that thought of leaping off of that job or out of that job or that field, I was like, I'm giving up all my securities. Like everything was just gone, but
it's that
I don't
moment.
even think about it now. Like
what
I don't,
the security's costing you.
right.
It's that moment where you're running towards the edge of the cliff and you're like, I'm about to do it. I'm about to do it. Before you hit that free fall moment, and you're like, oh, this is so liberating. But you're like, do I do it? Do I stop? I could stop anytime now.
Well, I think it's interesting to see how different people get to that end part of just being, hey, like we've talked about it quite a few times. What was it? Every person has two lives. I remember the quote. No,
Yeah.
the second one begins when you realize you only have one.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people go through different avenues to get that, but the people that kind of get that I've seen have always been the happiest because it's you whatever gets you to the point of this is it. Like I only got one of these.
Right.
We think. We
Yeah.
We could talk on a lot of different things, but like I, as far as I know, I only have one of these, and it's only for a limited amount of time.
Right.
Maybe, I mean, really, if you take off the first childhood can be okay for some people. But like in the end of your life, it can be okay for some people depending on how much time you have. But like, you know, what, a solid 60 years of basically kind of doing what you want, maybe. Like, so it's interesting to see, like, because my always thought was like, because I didn't grow up with not a lot of money. I'm not saying you did, but my always thought was like, if I can have all my bills paid on time, like if I don't have any like past due bills and I can feed myself like decent food, like
you're doing good.
Yeah, I'm solid. Like that's living the American dream, baby. Yeah. Like I don't have bill collectors calling me, and I can buy a steak.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, yeah, we're feeling. And that was always
and you
like,
didn't have to check the bank account before you did it. Like,
yeah, and it was like, yeah, no, I got this.
Yeah.
Like that was always like my first like kind of like totem of, okay, we're doing good.
Yeah.
And then I got there, and it was like, yeah, this is awesome. Like I'm not like living extravagantly by any means. I do what I can, and you know, I try to do as much myself, so I don't have to pay other people to do it for me.
Yeah,
it saves a lot of money. But then it was like, I kind of got to the same kind of spot where you was like, well, what else am I doing with my life?
What next?
What next?
Yeah,
like I don't know. I'd never really chased the dollar per se. Like, sure, like I said, if you want to hand me $10 million, like I'll find a way to spend it. I mean, I'll probably only spend like 2 million of it, and then I'll put the rest of it aside, so then I can do whatever I want.
Yeah,
for the rest of my life. Like I told, like, I don't know, what was it? I said something about, give me $1 million, like I'm retiring. Someone's like, well, I would hope so. I'm like, no, $1 million isn't that much.
No, not at all.
Like at 35 now, like that. If I did nothing to make money ever again, $1 million isn't that much, but I bet I could fucking make it work.
I could stretch it out long enough.
I could stretch it out long enough, or invest enough in it. Just something to like, because I don't need much, but it's interesting to see how different people get to that point in their lives. Like, do you think that was always like something that was like coming for you, or is it like something just like hit you one day, or someone like?
I mean, when I started at that job at 21 years old, they offered me dollar signs I've never seen before. You know, it was a union job. Like I got offered $12 or $13 more than I was already making. I was like, oh, jackpot. This is in and out. I'm done. Like I will retire from this place. I will scrub toilets. And then 9 years later, I'm like, oh my, like this is not what I thought I was signing up for. And there is a desire for so much more. Like I don't know what it is. I feel like if you think you have potential to do more, chase it. Like that's where I'm at with it. I was like, there is a desire to do something else with my life. I don't know what it is, but it's not this, and I've got to get out of it. And I think the only way to get out of it is to shut that door and go on. Like I think you don't necessarily get all the blessings that are coming your way if you don't take the full initiative forward.
You got to jump off the cliff.
Yeah, you have to jump.
You got to jump. That's not...
Flying
Sometimes
or dying,
life opens doors for you, and maybe you don't always walk through them. If you take that statement in any way, you will. But there's opportunities that life may present you, and some people either can't walk through that door because they have people that rely on them or other obligations that they have to fulfill. But
I think most of us doubt ourselves too much. Like we doubt our potential to succeed. And like when you're put in that position and you're like, okay, so, you know, if you decide that's where you take your career and you're like, well, can we live off of this income if this flops? You don't worry about it. Like just take the leap and it's going to come in. People are going to support you. I left that job and within days they were knocking on phone, social media. People were going crazy. I was like, I did not expect this amount of support and business from like people I never even talked to. That, you know, everybody has, or we all have those followers that just follow. Right. No likes, no comments, nothing. But the day that I posted that Fife's detailing was a thing, there was people knocking on the door. It was insane. I did not expect that support.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was inspiring to me. And I will say this, no offense to you, but I don't have a vehicle nice enough to get it detailed. And if I did, I'm just one of those people that more than likely I'm going to try to figure out how to do it myself because my brain just can't handle. Yeah. Now her car, I'll let you. Yeah. I literally told somebody the other day, I said, they were talking about like, well, how'd you figure out how to do all this stuff? Cause I do a lot of random shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I just learn it because that's what I enjoy doing. I like learning how to do new things. I said, plus, I didn't have a whole lot of money, so if I wanted something done, like, well, I had to figure out how to do it myself, or it just didn't get done because I didn't have the money to pay somebody to do it.
Right.
I said, but the one thing I do pay for is for someone to work on my wife's car because I just don't have time for that anymore. I said, to me, like, that's like a next level. Like, now that I can eat a steak every once in a while, now I can pay somebody to work on my wife's car because
It's a burden you don't need to deal with.
yeah, because if I fuck it up, I'm never going to hear the end of it. So
I almost messaged you the other day because I went outside and at some point I had apparently spit out some gum that didn't land where I wanted it to.
Oh.
And it was like down my car. And I was like, fuck. So I'm like, all right, well, I know you can use an ice cube if you get it in your hair because it had melted.
Okay.
It had melted down. And so I'm like, he's not home. So I'm like, shit. I could only get some of it off. And I was like, all right, I'm never going to hear the end of this.
Right.
So I need to figure out how to get this off of my door. But I just kept working at it, and it's not visible unless you're looking at
Well,
it.
she did say, she's
Or
like,
the
I'm gonna-
light gets on.
It's the
I
angle.
did. I
She's-
did end up
yeah.
telling him. I was like,
Yeah.
so this thing happened.
yeah, well, even then she was like, well, I think I'm going to get a hold of Kyle and Kate and I'm going to have like, get
Well,
my car
I've
done.
said that
I
for like
yeah.
3 months.
Yeah, I said, yeah, do it. Like, go ahead. I'm not offended that you
Yeah.
want them to clean your car because I won't do as good of a job either. So
Well, you make it the dirtiest with your boots.
that's also true.
So I feel like I deserve. When I bought the vehicle, it had never been detailed. We bought it from like an auto mall.
Oh, okay.
So like they vacuumed. It has never been.
They probably brought it from an auction or something.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
they-
yeah.
I'm
It had
sure.
never been,
It'd been vacuumed,
detailed.
but
So
that
I
was- yeah.
feel like I would feel really bougie.
It needs some love.
Like-
yeah.
I'd feel really good. Yeah.
Yeah, you get
But
that.
there is some gum on the door.
Oh,
That
I see.
Don't use a Brillo pad.
Oh, that sounds like a terrible idea.
For most of it, I used our gym key
Yeah.
Oh, the plastic.
because it was plastic,
Yeah.
and I that'd be fine.
Why, as long as it's not gouging into the other plastic, like it.
It didn't
Yeah.
really.
But no, we can get that taken care of. We'll-
Yeah, you take care.
We
So
know.
speaking
We know
of, what
somebody.
all do
Yeah,
you
we know
what
it.
all do you offer?
So
Go over
we-
that because I was like, I don't know what you can do, but this is kind of what I would need. So what all do you do?
So we're doing interior, exterior washes. We can do paint corrections, polishes, wax sealants, ceramics.
What is ceramics? I've always heard that. I don't know what that means.
So the simplest way to put it right now is it's basically an extra coat over top of your clear coat, and it like you get different life spans out of it based off of the products that you pay for.
Is that kind of like clay barring? Because I've heard that term before.
So
too.
like
Is that
clay
a good
bar
thing,
would
too?
be removing impurities from the clear coat.
Okay.
So paint correction would be like an actual like 2-step buff out with a heavy grit and then a medium grit, polish it out, and then put the ceramic over top of it, which it protects the clear coat.
So your
Road-
clay bar is going to help remove all those impurities out of your paint, like your tar and your road grime and stuff.
Okay.
And then the buffing, like a paint correction, you can help pull some of the deep scratches, unless it's all the way through the paint to your metal. You obviously can't.
Well, there's
buff
there's
that
nothing
out.
there.
Yeah.
But if
What does
they're-
actually happen when you're buffing? Does do things like meld together? Is that what's happening? Like, is it heat? Like how? 'cause I
So
don't remember-
there's a mixture of heat and the compounds that you're using have grit in them.
Okay.
And that, like, if you were to take a heavy grit with a rotary to that car, you would see the swirls in it. That's
Right.
the grit and the pads,
Scratching it.
Yeah.
Away.
So basically, you're scratching the vehicle to remove
Just smooth it
scratches.
all out.
Yeah, and then you take a finer step over it, smooth
kind
it
of like
out.
you would with sanding,
Okay.
if you will. Like
That
you
makes
take
sense.
a heavy grit to get
Right.
your big rough
To
stuff
polish
out,
it.
and then you slowly refine your.
So how do you do
grit
that
to
though with
smooth it.
because the clear coat? Because there's different layers. Like because there's paint. There's obviously your metal, your primer, your paint, and then a clear coat.
Yeah.
So but if it goes through the clear coat,
We are
into the
not
paint.
doing anything like that. So that you turn into wet sanding and that kind of process. We're not there yet.
Okay.
So your paint correction and your polishing, that's going to stay right on your clear coat. So if you have
Okay.
scratches that are just in your clear, those are able to be removed.
Which is
through.
typically where you get your fuzziness and all the
Yeah.
different things that you.
Yep.
It looks like it's scratched up, but
Yeah,
Okay.
Like
it's
that
a lot
being-
of that sits on the top in your clear coat, and you can buff a lot of that out with those different compounds and stuff. But once you get into the paint or down to your metal, then you're gonna have to get into more of the wet sanding or touch-up painting.
Yeah, you're talking body work at that point.
Right, yeah.
Where
That's a whole different
that's
ballgame.
well-
Because I've done some of that very poorly before. I mean, it looks good for like the first like year or so,
Yeah.
but then once started, like I realized my truck that I have, it's an older truck. But when I got it, I'm like, man, like this thing is immaculate. Like the whole underside is like all coated and like painted, and like there's not like an ounce of rust on this thing. And like I found like there was like about a year or so after I had it, like there was one spot in the door. I'm like, no big deal. Like it's not like no. And now I can see as it's settled, both rear panels
Yeah.
have been cut out.
Oh, they've already fixed them.
They've already fixed them. And I'm like, these sons of bitches.
Yeah.
I said, they fucking hornswoggled me. They did a good job initially, obviously, but eventually those things start working themselves out.
Yeah.
Once you start cutting out chunks of metal and replacing them. And like
We've got a neighbor who stopped over and he has a Dodge, and I'm gonna leave like
And
lots.
names or anything
Yeah,
out
we'll
of
leave
it.
lots and car dealership
Dealerships
lots
and
out of
stuff.
it and stuff. But he
Right.
bought this Dodge and they claimed that there was no work done to it, and it was clean title, blah blah blah. Well, come to find out, there was a bunch of work done to it, and within 2 weeks of owning the vehicle, it was all like the paint was already starting to come off of the car and stuff.
jeez.
Like the paint had bubbled and like the Bondo work was not done
Mine's not
well.
that
And
bad.
so it started.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I can tell that something
Yeah.
happened.
Oh,
Clearly,
yeah.
you guys lied when you sold it.
That's a
And,
bummer.
Yeah.
I will say the place I bought mine, they didn't like give me any illusions or anything, but they like didn't say anything, whatever. But like it was just from a first visual inspection. I take a pretty good look at it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's pretty clean. And like it takes a couple years. Like when I also realized at one point that whoever had the truck before, like they did take good care of it. But like they must have like backed into something with the door open, because it like put the or they just really loved whipping the door open, because like that bottom like hinge on the
Yep.
door started like pressing in, and then like I started like, man, like the door looks funny, and then I had to like start like pulling it up to like close it, and then eventually I ripped the door off and realized that it had been welded. And I didn't rip it off. But, like I took
yeah.
the door off because I was
Okay.
like, I have to re-weld this
I was like,
thing.
damn,
No, I didn't rip
Fred.
it off.
This
Yeah, I
thing,
just no, I didn't actually rip the door off, but I realized, I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna have to take this thing off.
Right.
I have to weld it. And then when I realized that it had been welded before, and they did a terrible job, I'm like, sons of bitches. Like, but that's why some people like buying new cars. I guess.
Yeah.
You don't run into those. Oh, but you had said before that you're thinking about, or maybe not thinking, maybe I'm super projecting here, but you thrown the idea around of like doing more than just that. Is that still kind of your thoughts? Because I know you had a really cool idea. That
Oh,
was like-
absolutely. Yeah. So, we don't want to just stick with detailing. If we could get into like the automotive mechanical side of things and offer a wide range of options and, lift kits, bumpers. It's crazy right now.
additions,
Jeeps,
new
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah.
We've talked about that a lot.
'Cause that sounds fun.
I've expressed interest in trying to learn how to tint or wrap. So there's a number of different things that we've kind of got.
The clear brawl that's a real big thing that's coming out with PPF. Like Tesla, like I guess Tesla's paint's terrible. So the first thing they do after they buy a Tesla, they take it to a guy who lays clear brawl, and they wrap the front end of that car, and it's a clear wrap. Now, obviously, if you get down, you can see there's a lip or something,
right.
but it's not. But we would like to take it into that range. I don't want to just be stuck with detailing. I think to have a shop that was able to offer kind of like 4-wheel parts, you go up there and they've got the axles, they've got the tire. Like, it would be awesome to be a one-stop shop like that, I think.
For new stuff, not like fixing,
No,
but like new stuff. We got an engineer, right? So you can do all types of stuff.
Right.
You just gotta.
By training.
Yeah, you just got to shift what you engineer.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a piece of paper that says I did some things, but
Well, that's what when you
But
first mentioned, I was
yes.
like, that'd be super awesome. Like, because I've worked on plenty of cars, and like in automotive, like maintenance is not something that's is that can be a real pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, that'd be really cool, like to be able to do like aftermarket stuff. Like, that's a whole different ballgame there. That'd be really neat to be able to do like the lifts and like in superchargers and be able to like.
Oh, absolutely. If you had
Awesome.
a dyno and all that.
Yeah,
like,
that'd be fun.
right.
Like, but fixing people's
And
old
that's-
fucking
that's-
busted ass Buicks.
Yeah, we don't want that. No.
and I think long-term goal is like we would love to to get to that point. And we're just going to try to slowly piece our way there.
No, you got to jump off the cliff. Right?
I think
I
we
mean,
already
we
made that
jumped
jump.
already.
Now we're
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to like find
You're trying to find the parachute cord to like land safely.
Well, honestly, like I feel like the cord's open. We're just kind of just.
we're trying to find the right place
Yeah.
to land.
There you go.
At this
I see
point.
that.
It's not a squirrel suit or anything. Like we're totally just floating.
Just
right.
going
Yeah.
slow. Hey, that's all right. Though.
Yeah.
That's safe too.
We made the jump. Now we're just cruising from there.
Well, I give you props for making the jump. So.
Hey, we appreciate it.
Yes, thank
I knew it was inspiring to me, and that's what like. It was as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Well."
You know what's
It kind of
crazy?
took me by surprise. Like, actually, I was somewhat surprised by.
The reaction
No.
that I got. I don't post personal things either, and that was like. That was way out of my comfort zone. I sent it to Kate, and I'm like, "What do you think?" And because I was like, "I don't think I even want to post," and she's like, "Post that." So I sent the post, where I was sitting at my desk with the coffee cup, and
Oh yeah,
this is my last day here. My life is forever changing, and I don't know if it's for the good or the worse, but we're about to find out.
Did you give it 2 weeks and they said you could
yeah.
be done now?
So I put in my 2-week notice. I knew that they were going to be pissed off about it, so I was trying to use my 2 weeks of vacation that I had left as well,
right.
which pissed them off. But as a union, like that,
Yeah, even if it's not a union, like, you should be able to use that shit. Like,
and then
paid for it.
so that upset the HR guy who has more power than I've ever. Like HR should not have the power.
HR is a scary place these days.
But like he had more power than the plant manager, which is weird. Like I've never worked in a facility where the HR was more powerful than the plant manager of the facility. Like this man's word was read scripture in Morton Salt's book. Like and good for like I don't want to deal with that. But what was I saying again? I got to stop doing that.
Before you left, it was your last day.
You were
and-
thinking about making that post, and
Yeah.
he sent it to me, and he was like, do I even post this? Like, does anybody even care? Does anybody read these long posts that anybody posts? And I was like, after reading, it's inspirational. Like what you're doing, maybe you inspire somebody else to make that leap also. You don't know. And maybe just by putting your story out there, you change one person's life.
Yeah.
You don't know, but you don't know unless you try.
I mean,
And
we
that's the
talked
whole
about
point
it.
of all
I
of this.
messaged you and was like,
Right.
fuck yes.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, hell yeah. Like,
yeah,
I never
was
would have
like, he's
expected it. It was
actually
like,
doing what I have talked about for a really long time.
And maybe
Like, it's so cool.
Right.
maybe if you don't inspire somebody to go to the level that we went to with quitting our jobs, maybe just thinking about what other options are there for my life? What other changes could I make? What could I do to make my life more fulfilling?
That was the biggest thing. I was like,
how could I live? How do I break free from society's chains?
if I can inspire somebody, you don't have to quit your job, but if it means you stand up for anything, whatever you love, like just go do it. Just
Find
Yeah.
something that
if you
that
were
lights a
miserable,
fire inside you.
stop soaking in it. Like just, I feel like we just bathe in depression and everything else because we won't make the effort to move forward in life to do whatever that desire is. Just go chase it. Like that was the biggest thing that I've learned from this experience was if I'd have done that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever those opportunities existed, where would I be now?
Right.
And it's not a regret thing, but it's totally like I love to ponder and
well,
like what would have happened if
Yeah.
yeah.
hindsight 2020
Yeah.
as always. But like you said, man, I knew it was when you posted that. Like, I couldn't even necessarily place my thumb on it right this moment. Like, but it was one of those things where I was like, hell yeah, someone's doing it, and it's hey, I know that guy, and that surprises me that he's doing it. Like that's awesome. And we were already doing even this, but like it just connecting it to myself, it was like, yeah, I have to keep doing this. Like, because it's whatever it is. Like, if you find something, keep doing it that you enjoy. Like
Right.
whatever it is, just find some joy in your life and keep doing it. Or believe in something.
There's plenty of sadness
it.
and anger in
Yeah.
the world already.
Yeah, we don't-
That's it.
Animosity.
That's it. Yeah.
Like let's find some good. Find something that makes us happy, that drives us, that motivates us, makes us want to get up in the morning.
Makes you want to do good for the world. Like let's stop putting evil out there. Let's give somebody something that they can feed off of that's positive and not fill their feed with garbage. Like that was it. Like she gave me the go ahead. I was like, all right, I'm sending it.
Yeah,
And we
sometimes
sent
you
it, and
you
it-
just gotta send it.
And
Just gotta put it out there in the
positive
universe.
feedback off it. And I think within minutes, Cassie was all over it. Like,
Well, because we've really focused on that in the last few years, where you realize it's like, man, like, and even more so, it becomes a like an exponential increase of seeing those things and like being attracted to those things and honing in on
Mhm.
like what's the positive things, because like I said, there's enough bad things and there's enough bad shit and depression out there. Like, what can we do that's good? Like, and I remember like always hearing like as you getting older, like, oh, like you gotta do something good for the world and do for, and I was a very pessimistic person, but like still it's like you realize like you don't have to be a super crazy tree hugger or whatever
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
to just do something good for somebody. And because it's, what bad is that going to do for you? None. It's only going to be better. It's only going to make you feel better. And it's only going to
Like the other day, we went out into Worcester and grabbed lunch real quick, and you order, and then they have a tip jar, and then you wait for your food. And there were 3 people back there working, and behind us, we walked in there, and there was nobody in front of us. And then there was like a whole bunch of people that walked in behind us. So we threw a little extra in the tip jar. There's 3 guys out back there. They're busting their tails trying to make everybody's food and make everybody happy.
we came in to order, and then like 10 other people it was like church just let out. And
do it.
yeah, lunch break
was
just
it a Sunday
broke.
though? Or was
it was a
It
Sunday.
might have been Sunday.
Oh, I was gonna
but
say it may be a lot funnier if it wasn't.
And I'm not saying you got to go out there and do
saying.
something
Like, it was like
monetarily.
church just let out.
Right.
But
It
it's
doesn't
something
have to
to
be
be
monetary. It was just some way of giving back to these people, saying, "Hey, I recognize how hard you're working and what you're doing." And
I'm a people watcher, and I was looking back in the back, and I watched all those people walk in. The guy at the register turned around, and he's like, "It's on." Like that was the
Already.
words out of his mouth.
Yes.
I'm like, all right, they're about to get dumped on. I was
Right.
like, Kate, take this back up here and just throw it in there real quick. There wasn't like a, hey, look what, please
I
just
don't
go
think
throw it
anybody
in.
was even standing at the register when I walked up there. It wasn't about the amount or about that. It was just about the recognition,
Right.
saying, "Hey,
Because you can't get, they don't feel appreciated anymore. It's turned into, McDonald's wants $15 an hour. Now we're degrading anybody who works at McDonald's. Like, I don't want, everybody has to play their role in society, I guess. And we need all those positions filled, and we appreciate everybody who does their job. Like,
I think it makes you more conscious too. Like when you leave a safe business and now you're relying on customers
absolutely.
and maybe referrals, and so you have to provide them with an excellent service. It makes you more aware of, okay, where is there somebody local I can buy this off of instead of Amazon? I feel like over the last couple years we have been more conscious about what can we
And
get,
I'm
like
an
especially
Amazon
with
horror. I'll be the first one to
Yeah.
because it's nice to be able to just go pull up your phone, go click
2 days.
It'll be here in 2
Yeah.
days.
But if
Sometimes
there's
it's tomorrow.
something you can buy locally, it makes you a little bit
Oh,
more
yeah.
conscious of it when you're relying on
Yeah, there are definitely
local
those
people to put food on your
Yeah,
table.
there's definitely those things where like, hey, if I need a coffee mug, because she's a coffee mug whore.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like, you're about to like test that. I said no for sure. Like, all right, if we don't need any more coffee mugs,
Yeah,
trust
yeah.
me. But if we did, like, it wouldn't be I can go on Amazon and buy coffee mugs. It's we know people that are are they potters?
Potters.
Is that what? Yeah.
Oh, they're handmade.
Yeah, they're handmade.
Mhm.
Like
Oh, that's dope.
and she has a handful. She has most of her coffee mugs now are all handmade from people around the community.
From
Yeah.
Worcester, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, all right, that's what you love. Like, I don't need to buy coffee mugs from Amazon.
No.
I can find
Or just
you know,
like
certain
gifts,
places like
right?
that.
Like even if it's not something free, last year we made a very conscious decision to buy locally
Mhm.
for stuff. Like we got Kyrie different stuff, like
For Christmas?
horseback,
Yeah,
yeah, horseback riding lessons.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like that's
From-
so cool.
from a girl she was a sophomore.
Yeah, she's a
then, right?
junior
And
this
that's what She
year.
like, goes,
Yeah.
You know,
takes
and
horse to the fair, and like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what she was doing. So it's like, yeah, like
she busts her ass doing it too.
I can't imagine.
And the
Probably works
prices
harder than
were
I do.
like, we paid like $50.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be so much better for her than some shit I'm gonna buy on the internet for her.
Yeah, some
Like,
Groupon deal.
that you're not
Yeah.
gonna be able to get this
Yeah.
year anyways.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. So I think it just makes you more conscious when you're relying on local people to put food on your table.
We
and-
like all the decorating we did or that she did outside. I'm not taking any credit for that. But she was like, hey, I would like to avoid a lot of these like multi-million-dollar farms, and let's go help these smaller farms out,
Right.
with the corn stalks and the
Right.
pumpkins and the mums. And so we're trying to do the same thing as like once you start that small business, you're like, everything you do instantly is like small business. Let's Let's help
I feel
these
like it's
guys.
when you
Let's
buy a
feed these
car,
guys.
and
Let's.
then you're like, you see that car everywhere.
Yeah, right. You're giving each other the wave,
Mhm.
the car wave, the motorcycle wave.
You just don't recognize it, and then
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, oh yeah, I have ones, and then you see it everywhere because you pick up on it more. But same thing with small business. Now that we're small business owners, we
And
pay
I've
more
never
attention to it.
consider myself a networker at all. Like I just go through life, and if I run across you, like I've met another acquaintance. Like
Right.
it's never been a networking thing for me. And then this detailing stuff started opening up, and I got people pulling in the driveway that have billboard companies, and I'm like, oh, like that's really cool. You know, marketing. You know, they do
Right.
cards, they little signs for your yard or what. Like I'd have never met any of these people or had those opportunities if I'd have never made that leap. Like
Right. And then
things fall into place when you take steps. If you feel motivated to move.
It's
Move.
like how Rogue started, right, Aunt? Like, you know what? I'm just going to leave college and I'm going to go help with some hurricane relief. And
Is that what happened?
here we are.
I dropped out of college when I was getting my first degree, and I was like,
That's awesome.
yeah, me and a buddy, I was like, dude, just get in your car and let's go. We didn't have a plan. We just went down there, and then we just, yeah, it was Hurricane Katrina. So we lived down there for like 3 months. I had like $400 to my name, and
Yeah.
I'm like, we'll figure it out, dude.
But that's awesome, though.
Yeah.
In the experience that you had, you know, yeah, that's incredible. Did you have any training at all at that point?
No, not at all. When the pastor of this church that we met up with was like, "Hey, you boys seem like some pretty strong country boys. You cut down some trees before?" We're like, "Yes, we've cut down some trees before."
Of course.
My buddy and me are like, "Dude, you ever cut down trees?" He's like, "No." No. So,
You cut a triangle on the backside,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
you got chunks out of it.
so, but no, man, that just
You just yell timber and watch it
yeah,
go, right?
yeah. I wish that's how it went.
Yeah.
Well, and now look at Rogue, right? Like,
Oh,
it's
geez.
incredible.
Yeah, I seen
Yep.
Corey's post that he just bought that new piece of machinery, and
yeah.
Yeah, they're doing so, and everybody sees him all over the place. And the other buddy that he's talking about that he went down and did that with, he's a college professor down in South Carolina, and he's an artist,
Author.
author.
oh,
Sorry.
geez, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just you see these people just doing these, things are just when you go for it.
Well,
Sometimes
honestly,
you just-
2021
that's what you
kind
gotta
of
do.
seems like it's the year that everybody is like. I felt like 2020 was like the breaking point. Like you pushed everybody to this verge, and now all these people are standing there like, I'm done.
Yeah, some people are
And they
done,
just
and
do
some
it.
people are broken.
Yeah.
now at this point, some people just got broke along with the
'Cause
system.
after-
I think.
I put in my 2-week notice. There was 2 or 3 other people that left right after me. Like I gave my 2-week notice, and my supervisor was like, "I feel like you're going to open the floodgates." I'm like, "Well, that's your guys' problem. That's not. You
Sorry.
should treat people better."
Yeah,
Someone
and that
else
was-
resigned the week before I did, and then someone else resigned the week after I did. So it was
It's been a ripple effect, and I
Who's
think
coming with me?
right.
yeah. Well, I
Like
think.
Jerry Maguire.
Oh yeah,
What's that? Show me the money, Jerry.
taking the fish with me.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Good catch.
I actually had no idea what that was. That's
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie Jerry Maguire? Tom Cruise, the old school.
Oh, okay. No.
Oh, it's
I
old-
remember watching that when I
Oh,
was
it's
way
a great
too
movie.
young
It's,
to watch
what?
that.
I don't remember how bad it was. I remember it was a great movie though. It was Jerry. Tom Cruise was a sports agent, and he was like he just started out, and like he started picking up some of these like football players and
Mhm.
stuff.
1996.
Oh, so yeah, so it's a while ago, and he like basically takes
5
like
years
the
old.
I was gonna say, was that the year you were born, Kyle?
Born in 91.
yeah. Have you ever heard anybody say "Show me the money, Jerry"?
Yeah.
That's what that
Show
movie's
me the money. I had not heard the Jerry part.
But that's the "Show me the money" is where
Okay.
it's from.
Okay.
That was Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah.
Oh, was that him? Okay, yeah, he was a sports guy, and he was basically like trying to get. He's like, "Hey, Mister, give me the money."
Yeah.
and he's like, I'll let you. I will hire you as my agent if you pay me the money. So
Yeah.
he's like screaming over the phone. He's like, "Show me the money, Jerry." He's like, "Scream it with me, scream it with me." So he's like, "Show me the money." Yeah, that's where that came from.
okay.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he went off on his own in that movie. So
yeah. Sorry,
did his own thing. No, it worked
All
out for him,
excited.
which is
I-
good.
movie of my childhood, obviously.
It's good. Man.
It's like Michael Scott when he went down to the basement. Remember? And then he took the receptionist with him. She became a salesperson on The Office.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he had to work by himself.
We don't watch The Office either.
Oh,
That's a different kind of comedy.
It's
that it's
so
just,
cringy. It's like almost embarrassing to watch, but it's
like
it's really
recreation
good.
or part. What's the other?
Parks and Rec.
I can't handle that one either.
I like that one too.
It's the dry humor.
Oh yeah, see, I love that stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't.
Have you ever watched Letterkenny?
Okay, so that one's kind of funny. Yeah,
Okay, I was gonna say,
that's kind
there's no
Yeah.
funnier show ever existed than besides above that one. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. See, you just did it to me. I don't remember where we were going with that at all.
movie quotes. You guys said it. It'll
That's
ruin
where you get
it.
us, Tony.
Yeah.
No, the cool thing about so I was just thinking I was going through my head and thinking back to Rogue and stuff and how it started, and I was in a little bit of a similar situation that you guys were, where I was working in orthopedics, had a pretty cushy job, making 6 figures, and had bought my own bucket truck and was doing a little bit of that on the side.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna step away from this. And everyone's like, dude, what are you doing?
Right.
You just stepped away from like a job that people would kill to make that kind of money. And I'm like, yeah, it's not where I want to be at this point.
It's not about that.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I need to try something different. I see something I think I can build here. And then one thing, led to another. The ball got rolling. Like you said, man, well, I wasn't a huge, I was almost an introvert back in the day, which I know that seems very weird to think. But started talking with people, and man, I think genuine people attract other genuine people.
Okay.
And, if you can stand behind what you do and you just let your work speak for itself, and that word of mouth is a beast, man. It's huge.
Absolutely.
As well as attitude. And it seems like you guys have, that collective mix of things that are going to help your business succeed, which is awesome. The other cool thing is once you jump off that cliff, and I get this question a lot because, I started the 2 other companies with Corey, and I ended up bringing Corey on as a business partner, and, you see where it is now.
Yeah.
It's easier to take those calculated risks after you've taken that initial risk. And people will see that and they'll, America's a society of comfort. And to do something like you did, it is very uncomfortable. And, one of the big things I see repeated in successful people are, putting themselves in uncomfortable situations, not dangerous situations, but uncomfortable situations. And I think that's how you get smarter. I think that's how you get sharper. I think that's how you build, kind of a deeper character and find different parts of the things you enjoy, the things you're not good at, and how to become better at them. And so the more and more you do that, the easier those calculated risks become. And it snowballs. And so it's very cool to see you guys take that initial step. And who knows, like, dude, maybe you guys will have, this empire that stretches across the United States, or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll stay smaller, but you guys will be unbelievably happy, far happier than you were before. You'll get to kind of travel the United States and, whatever it is you want. But I will say that it becomes easier and you gain more confidence, and it's easier to take those calculated risks after the initial risks that you guys made.
That's kind of all I can think of is that. Was it The Hangover? Or he's like, but did you die? Yeah. And when you realize, I did this thing and I didn't die, so.
Yeah. Okay. The whole time that they were saying what they were saying, it reminded me, going back to Dan, not to bring him up again, but when we were in the songwriting days, but it was this song, and it said, I won't say would've, should've, could've, live with no regrets. I won't say life is too short, that's a promise, not a threat. Instead, here's the words I needed but didn't know. Just go, just go. And it was
that's badass.
It was talking about, like,
how'd you remember those lyrics?
Because they were catchy. I don't know.
He doesn't remember his own half the time.
No, those were my own.
But we haven't sang that song in ever.
Yeah. Sometimes I get this weird spot in this podcast where I get these compartmentalized ideas. Yeah, and they flow and
subconsciously.
And I save them to come back to because I want everybody to be able to talk and stuff.
I feel like every now and then I just need to be like, "Hey, stop, Tony."
We just have to pause it. Like, Tony,
what do you have right
now? I collect like the last 5 or 6 things, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to touch on this, and this. But no, that song was about the same thing. It was, kind of those missed opportunities that people didn't take, and it told a story of a couple different scenarios, one very similar to what you guys did. So that's cool that you were able to kind of see the writing on the wall. Just go, do what's going to make you happy, and pursue that wholeheartedly.
Well, and I felt like there was a point in my life where it was super depressed and anxious and not medicated and not suicidal, but it was weighing on me. I was carrying a burden on a regular basis. I couldn't understand it. Like I tried to get medication, talk to somebody, and nothing seemed to help. You can only mask a problem for so long until the problem is like, we're here to stay, until you decide to do something about it. And I couldn't handle that burden anymore. It was a burden on my marriage. It was a burden on our relationship. Different types of burdens, and this burden was not a burden as in like together, but
she's like, "What the? You
I was
fucking
Where's this headed?
Yeah, no, like
What are these words?
I'm a
rein
hard
this shit
person
in
to
real
deal
quick,
with.
bro.
I'm a hard person to deal with if I'm in a situation that I can't control, and I feel like it's a whirlwind, and it's crashing. I don't know what else to do. I'm just we're shutting down. We're not talking. We're not communicating. Like that's not a healthy relationship, and everything seemed to stem back to one problem, or one place in my life.
Link between that,
and I was
all
like,
of it.
I can't get away from any of these burdens until I drop what causes the burden.
Right.
You get an infection. What do? You take care of the infection. There was an infection in my life I had to take care of, and I was ignoring it for a long time because the dollar signs were rolling in, bills were paid, and we were comfortable. It wasn't rich or loaded,
Everything's masking it.
but we were fine. Didn't have to worry about income. Things were good, but I couldn't deal with it anymore. Money is not what I need to be chasing, and that was the focus when we left. I'm like, I got to find something to just heart happy, mind happy, and not easier. Like owning a business is not easy. Like I think
Life's not easy.
No, it's a different type of burden, but it's a burden that you're doing to better yourself. I guess it makes it easier or more enjoyable when you know that burden is going to grow yourself, your character, your business. I just needed change, and that's where we went.
Well, that's all. I mean, that's awesome to even be able to recognize that, and I like that there was an infection in my life.
I like the way people think. Like I don't understand my own thought process, but I love to understand like your thought process. How do you tick? That's why we text and we send so much. I send so many dumb things to you. Just like, how do you feel about this? I like to know what makes people tick. What's your happiness? What's your trigger? And not because I want to trigger them, but because I like to understand somebody. Like I want to be on a deep level with connection, relationship level. Like
well, that's what I knew. Honestly, that's out of the blue. That's one thing I knew. Like was the first, like, I guess, signs that I was like, okay, this guy, there's something different about him. Like when you just some of the conversations we've had. And some of the things that you entertain. And it wasn't like there's plenty of people that have entertained the same kind of threads of ideas that we've discussed.
Yeah.
Like, because we've just discussed some like conspiracies and different things like that. But it wasn't like a really out there, like this person believes that, the earth it's not even flat. It's actually concave or,
right,
like
right.
ridiculous.
Nothing off the wall.
But it's, hey, this is an idea, and like this is a thought, and like you entertained it for the thought of entertaining it and going, okay, where could this lead? What does this mean? Not necessarily that this is actually what's happening, but like, because that's it. That's how I operate a lot. And I say some off the wall shit that Tony gives me side eyes a lot because I used to joke about the earth being flat, and I think for the first like 6 months I made that joke. He like got like visibly upset at me.
I didn't say a word.
Yeah, but my
deep down inside he wanted to throat punch you.
Yeah, for sure he would have punched me a lot of times. But in my mind it's not. Sorry, swallow wrong. I wasn't saying that I think the earth is flat. I just said I don't know if it is because I've never actually been up high enough to see the curvature of the earth.
Yeah,
like that's not me saying the earth is flat and there's Nazis in Antarctica and like all these different lizard people are wearing the same lizard person is wearing a Hillary Clinton suit and a Jeffrey Epstein suit at the same time.
I get it. Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? But like, it was those things where like, all right, you might not want to talk a bunch back in the day, or what you might be secluded, and but when we spent time with you guys, it was like, oh, like here's some people that actually are thinking these things, thinking thoroughly through life, and not just taking things at face value just because they should.
Right.
And that's why I got so excited when you guys were like, fuck the system, we're doing it, we're taking the jump, and we're gonna go and try to live life to the fullest. Like, it just made me happy. It was super awesome.
No, like I said, we appreciate it, and it's been fun, and we'll keep you updated. But
we may fly, we may fail, but we don't know unless we try, and we're
Yeah.
excited to see what the future holds.
we're willing to find out. Like I guess that was the biggest thing, is we're young enough that if all hell breaks loose and we can't handle it, then we're young enough to recover from this situation. Like, I didn't want to be 50, 60 years old and be like, oh, let's make a life-changing decision right now.
Right.
Let's spend all that retirement money and try to start a business.
Yeah, and some people still do.
And still end up
that's not saying you
successful.
Yeah.
Because you took the risk. Like, if you feel motivated, I guess that's the biggest thing out of all of this. If you feel motivated to do something, it's time to do it.
And that's one big thing that he told me throughout because he never told me, like, quit your job, screw the system. It was never like we were pushing that on each other. It was just this, we could see over time how we each changed and how unhappy we were becoming. And it wasn't like we were fighting or we were unhappy with each other. So it's not our relationship, but we see changes in each other slowly over time. And it was like, if you need to make that change, I support you in that. And that's another thing, is we were both very lucky to have each other that supported each other the way that we did throughout this whole process. But he said, if you feel something, trust your feeling, trust your gut, go with it, explore that feeling, live in it.
Like I told you, I didn't want to be the person. I'm like, I don't want to answer for, should I quit my job? That's not my burden to answer. Like, you have to be at peace with yourself when you make that decision, because you could regret that decision someday. Like, I took time and I thought about how I wanted to quit, and when we were prepared enough to take that step, like it wasn't just an emotional, I'm done, I hate all of it. Like, it wasn't like that.
Right.
Like, I don't like to make big decisions, life-changing decisions based off of emotion. Like, there has to be a process and a system behind it. Like, and I'm not saying you can't make successful jumps without emotion, but I don't think that's probably,
it should be purely
Yeah.
emotion.
yeah,
Well,
Like
there's
my-
got to be some calculation there,
Right.
You
Like
know?
my degree, it took me almost 10 years to finish my degree. That's a long time to put in to a degree. I mean, usually it's 4 or 5 years and you're done. It took almost
Yeah,
10
a
years.
lot of people go to school for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
called doctors.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was
But
thinking
I knew I was going to have to set up for you.
I did set
Just
that
joking.
one right up. But
Just joking.
to spend a few years in the workforce and then decide that wasn't for me, it was a really hard decision. I had put a lot into that, a lot of time and energy, schooling, money. How do I justify saying, okay, I can't do this anymore after
Well,
I just spent all that,
and I
put
think
all that into it?
some of that was like, what are people going to think? Because, I just left school. I just
Ooh, you gotta
entered.
be careful with that one, huh?
I just
What are
entered
people
the
gonna
field.
think?
Well, and we like to think that we don't care what anybody thinks about it. I don't honestly believe that that's true to 100%. Like, I feel like there's always a portion of us that kind of cares what
For
other
sure.
people think about us. I don't care how tough, or everybody kind of cares what somebody thinks about them. And she, like, that was a burden for her, where she's like, well, did I just give up? Did I stop chasing too soon? Like, there was a lot of factors. I'm like, Kate, this is your burden. I don't know how else to tell you. Like, I will support you with your burden, but I cannot answer these questions for you. You have to be at peace with this on your own.
Right.
I've got 2 parents who are also engineers, a brother who's an engineer. My whole family is very analytical.
It's a lot of analytical
very
thinking in one room.
calculated.
Right.
House
Can
of
you
learned
imagine?
engineers.
Yeah, and I'm the same way.
Like,
I'm very analytical, but that's even
Here
scares
comes
me.
the daughter. I just quit my job. I spent 8 years trying to get this engineering degree, and I just said, forget it, I'm done. Like, there was a lot of, what's my family going to think?
Right.
How are they going to
How
feel?
did they respond? Like, are they like, heck yeah? Or
I waited to tell them. I didn't tell them right out of the gate. And it wasn't like I was trying to hide it. It was just like, I'm not I didn't feel a need to just come out and be like, hey, I quit my job to everybody that I saw. It was just whenever it comes up and it comes out, then I'll be honest about it, but I'm not just going to throw it out there. So I told him, and I was very cautious with how I said what I said when I said it to him, but the first reaction out of him was congratulations. First thing they said.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That's incredible. We're so happy for you guys. You're going to be successful. Good for you guys. We wish you the best. Just an overwhelming amount of support.
Not what we expected.
Not at all.
Very
Yeah, but that's so
analytical
awesome.
parents. They want plans. Like
Right.
Yeah.
what are you doing with my daughter? But
But at the same time, if you know,
They trusted us, and they saw what we were able to do, and I think they also saw, like, as my family, you know, growing up with me, they saw those changes in me, and they saw how that stress was weighing on me. And they even said that day that I told them that I quit, they were like, you sound so different, so relieved.
they
so
probably knew
much
it before you even
happier.
did. That like, oh, she's not
Something
happy.
happened.
Yeah.
Something is different here. But it was
and
just,
you can always go get a job,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Like you can always use your degree
Yeah, and
somewhere.
At the same
can
time,
use
you
it.
could always use that degree to do something that's tied to it.
Yeah.
And and that's what I've tried to, because I don't have any degrees or anything either. I barely graduated. Well, I graduated high school.
But you're like, you have the mechanical.
Yeah, I've talked about before where I graduated high school barely because that was pretty much planned. I like by my junior year, I was like, what's the bare minimum?
Right.
I'm going to do that. But like Cass doing all her stuff, it's like, all right, like you have all these things to pull from. Like you've been this, you have this background. You're a yoga instructor. You've been a nurse for 15 years. Like,
Yeah.
leverage those things. Like you don't.
You're a
just because-
jackpot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
like-
because you have all these things doesn't mean you have to be any one of those things, but you can use the things that you've learned. You can use that degree, maybe not necessarily working for a corporation or whatever it is, but
Right.
like, all right, this is my knowledge. Now I can leverage this knowledge I have and I can put it to use here and here and there. And like
That was basically my breakdown for her, was like, when you decide to do this isn't you didn't lose. You didn't take an L. Like that's not that situation. Like you take this, and this is a learning experience. So you use these last 2 years that you just spent at this facility, and you figure out what you're willing to deal with. What kind of bullshit are you willing to take?
where's the line draw? Like
Well, walking away from that job in and of itself was really hard for me, like from a pride standpoint alone. Like when I graduated college, it was in the automotive industry, which was exactly what I wanted. I loved working on cars. It was engineering. It was close to home. It was a short commute. It was home every night. It was no traveling, no work on the weekends, no overtime. Like it checked all the boxes. This is exactly
We thought it was the
what I
jackpot.
want.
We're done.
I'm
Like-
going to retire from here. And I just found it right
American
out of
dream.
college.
yeah.
2 years later, I'm a completely different person. I'm miserable. And it was really hard to swallow that, to say this is what I want and everything I want, and it's so great, and then to say this is not at all what I thought it was, and to have to swallow that and accept it was hard for me.
I think a lot of people, I think maybe we need to change that, are thinking of, it's not something you have to swallow and just accept it, but being able to realize it like you did and using that to go, okay, I've taken these steps I've learned from
Yeah.
this, like you said, and then now I've realized this. It doesn't have to be an L. It doesn't have to be, be a loss. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I screwed up. It's okay. I thought this was
Yeah.
what I wanted until I got it. Or maybe it's still kind of in the ballpark, but I want to change a little bit. Because we all change.
And that's
Like-
exactly, I had to change my perspective of how I was looking at it. And I think once I was able to change how I was approaching it, and that was really eye-opening for me. And it kind of took down that barrier of being afraid to make that leap, because I was so afraid of failing myself. Like this was everything that I wanted for myself, and regardless of what anybody else thought, I was failing at it. This was my dream and my goal, and now it's not working out. And how do I shift gears from here? What's next? What was the next plan? And then
What
I
if
was
the
like, well,
dream
okay,
wasn't right?
this dream isn't working
Yeah.
out, so we got to find a new one. And then I opened myself up to that, and I left off the edge, and look at us now. And I'm not saying we're like crazy well off or whatever, but I would say that we've we found some sense of happiness that we didn't have
That was the
before.
look at us. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
not like, oh God, like we're just killing. No,
It was,
not at all. But the happiness,
we
the
found
peace,
what we
like,
were looking for out of making that change.
What do you have left at the end of the day if you're not happy moving through life?
So, and I told you like last week was her first official week off, and
Right.
we loaded up the dogs. And Wednesday we went to the dog park and we spent an hour and a half at the dog. There's been so many things that we've been able to do that I haven't been able to just do.
How hard is that? Because I can only imagine there's still like in the back of your head, like the time thing, like where you can just, hey, we have time to do whatever we want. Like, and to
It's
not just be, not to be
weird.
like,
I'm a busybody,
like-
so it definitely eats me up, but it's helping me switch gears. Yeah.
I
but
think
like-
it almost makes you slow down some in life, and that sounds weird
That's
to
been a
say,
big thing.
but it makes you focus on other things, like your family, and whether your family be your pets or kids or your parents or friends, whatever your family is. It forces you to kind of be more in that moment because you don't have all the other stuff going on, all the other stresses,
don't have
all
any
the other
excuses.
worries.
Right. And my
You can be in the moment and live in that moment and enjoy it.
my best friend, they just had a baby, 3 months ago?
4 months, yeah.
4 months ago, and she was in the hospital last week for 4 or 5 days, and it was Saturday 2 weekends ago, and he called us up and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, I could use some help. I'm like, let's get you out of the house,
Now
because she was in the hospital. So he's got a newborn baby, 3 months old. He's got their 5-year-old that he's adopted, and mom's gone, and like, I guess, do you have, is there when Cass isn't here, does the house tick different? The house wasn't ticking like it was
She's
supposed to
looking
be.
like she wonders.
Oh.
Does it go any different?
Not that you do a bad job, but like mom's gone, mama's gone.
yeah,
Like-
I think we've had this household ticks a little different
Okay.
in general.
Well, so
kind of like how we talked about right when you guys got here, obviously and I've said it before on the show before, like we probably parent a little, no, we parent different than a lot, and we probably like say things and like give a little more knowledge to our child. People would probably disagree with that but we try to go off the situation
Yeah.
and how it like not instantly, but as it changes, like we like to fluctuate. We don't want to have like strict, like, oh, well, this age you do this and this age you do this.
we'll tell you at 12.
Yeah. And you know, and until you're 16, the what is it? Whatever the bird is that delivers babies, like
Stork.
Yeah, the stork.
Stork.
Thank you. See? Yeah.
Bald eagle in this house.
Yeah. It's like, hey, like I said, like if you're old enough to ask the question, you're old enough to
It's
get the answer.
Time to answer.
So, yeah, I think we and we haven't always had that kind of relationship with each other. We've kind of grown because we've been together for it's probably going on 16 years now. Yeah, so it's we've changed a lot, but there's definitely like I think we've intentionally done that where it's, hey, we want to, and that's fine if the dad wants to play a traditional dad role, mom, whatever it is, whatever anyone's situation
Yeah,
is, that's their
absolutely,
situation.
absolutely.
But we've tried to be very fluid with like
Roles and
with roles and everything. Like she doesn't mow the grass real well, but she'll do it if
But
she,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
yeah, she'll do it if she needs to. But
Absolutely.
like, so I'll do it normally.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I'll do dishes, like
Yeah.
I cook, like, and she does,
Yeah.
she does all the different things. She takes the trash out, like all those stupid.
Yeah.
like, so it's we try to be fairly fluid, but yeah,
I think
it's,
what Kyle meant more was just that, like, our friend, when he met his now wife, she had a daughter already, so he had never been a parent before, and so he's learning with her child how to
Trying to
be
do
a
all the
parent.
things.
And then they just had their first child together 4 months ago, and so his wife is very used to getting the girls' clothes together the night before, packing lunches, that kind of stuff. And so
Right.
she goes into the hospital,
system,
and now
like
he's
they're-
like,
yeah,
I got to get the girls bathed, that I got to get them ready
Yeah.
for school. I got to get myself to work. I got to get them fed. And so he's just it was a new role for him, and
Right.
he was stressed out. But we were fortunate enough to be able to say, hey, let's take the day and go spend with them and spend with the girls.
We'll
and
help
get 'em
them
out
with
of
the
house.
kids. Yeah,
and-
like
Right.
we were never in a situation where we were able to like throw
Yeah,
it up
do
and
that.
just go help. Like it was an awesome feeling to just be able to get him out of the house, clear his mind, the kids were able to be distracted by, you know, somebody else other than the person they're trapped in four walls with all the time. Like, it's good for, you know, it's good for everybody to just interact and socialize. And we're not doing enough of that anymore right now with all this other crazy scare, COVID, whatever. But we're not socializing. Like, we're shutting down, and
Yeah.
that's not healthy. And especially for like, I'm a heavily introverted. Like, I prefer to just, I like the seclusion. It doesn't bother me. And Kate's like, we got to go. We got to get outside.
Hey,
I'm like,
let's get out of the house for a little. He's
babe,
like,
I'm still
"Yeah."
charging.
Yeah.
I'm still charging
Yeah. Well, I mean,
for 4 days, still
Yeah.
charging.
well, we
Like,
we made the joke right when everything started, when it was like we were sitting on the couch, you know, doing wine with DeWine at 2:30 or whatever it was, and it was like, all right, like, and
That's
then,
awesome.
Yeah, we're talking about the like people being isolated. It's not good for them and whatever, like especially single people, and how people. It's like it was like like, but then like thinking about it, like I can see how some people that are very extroverted, they don't have that.
right.
And it was like we looked at each other and we were both like, I really like you, but like if I was just here by myself, I'd be okay. Like we'd be fine. But at the same time, like we still like that interaction. Like obviously now we do this. So like, but this is
So that was
like one day a week where it's like we have all this and it's like, all right, I need a couple days to like.
That was my thing. Was I was like, I can get way too comfortable with this, and I can completely just start shutting down.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like my talking is all like my social skills. Like, it's declined to a certain degree. It has, because I've not been
You're
forced.
not practiced.
I'm not.
A little rusty.
Kyle got to the point of just grunts.
Like, oh,
yeah.
you're like,
Yeah. Okay.
That's exactly how we were. I was laid off, even though I'm a nurse. But we closed down. Well, I'm at a clinic, and we weren't allowing any patients to come in.
oh yeah.
So then now
in
what
the
do you
beginning.
do? Like, there's nothing for us to do. And so I was part-time. So they were like, yeah, you are laid off. And I spent, like 3 weeks not even knowing if I was going to make,
Yeah.
if I was going to even get
unemployment or anything like that.
Yeah. But after like the first week, we're like, this is fantastic. You said like how there's nothing else to focus on. It's just here now. Like, we taught Kyrie how to ride a bike.
You take all the distractions
Right.
away.
Yeah, there was just so many things. I'm like, wow. Like, I enjoyed cleaning the house. I painted 2 rooms in the house. I fucking hate doing that normally because it's just something extra to
Right.
do. But
It's another thing on the list.
Yeah, it
on a
was-
list that's already overflowing.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just.
But you take away all that other stuff, and it becomes not so overwhelming.
Mhm.
And I spent the entire summer out there with my nephew. He spent the entire 5-6 weeks with us of July.
Yeah.
Through
Right around July. I don't know. Before July, after July,
But
somewhere in there.
we were, if we had vehicles coming in, we were out there hand washing together. Like, he spent those 4 or 5 weeks with us, and he goes home and he's washing the neighbor. We grew up on a dead end road, and his mom bought a house right in front of our parents' house.
Your childhood home.
Yeah. So it's a dead end street, but he's washing all the neighbors' vehicles now. Like, he's
And he's out there posting videos, wash this car, what the car is.
That's awesome.
Like, he's
Interior,
mimicking
exterior,
everything.
like he's got his own little business going. Got to be just like Uncle Kyle.
it's funny.
That's awesome.
But it was an experience that I've not gotten to have with him. Like, he's 8-9 years old now, and that was the first time in our lives where we spent that entire time just buddies hanging out. Like,
can't
that's
put
a
a
big
price
deal
on
to
that.
me.
Yeah.
Like,
It's invaluable. You can't, those memories and the bond, you truly can't value that.
Right. And it doesn't take a pandemic for it to happen. Once you realize it,
Yeah.
now it's like, because I even, Tony, he's been a kind of a, let's say, I don't know if wanderlust is a strong word, but internally you've kind of wanted to be. He's gone around all over the place. But like, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, to a degree. And I mean, obviously with the jobs I do, like I still kind of am on
That is true.
wanderlust to some degree.
But like, I know, like, I just planned like this year, kind of the same thing. I was like, you know what? Like, I reconnected with my sister, and it was like, I'm just going to, I have vacation, because I still worked at the corporate job. But I have vacation. So I'm like, you know what? I might as well use it for something. So I'm like,
Right.
you know what? I'm going to go down. And I found out that my sister lives not far from his buddy the author and the guy who went down the.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and he's talked, and I've met him once, and he's been on the show, and I've read his book and stuff like that. So I'm like, you know what? Like, they don't live far from each other. So I'm like, I'm just gonna take some days off. I'm gonna go down there, and we're just gonna go see people.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Like, and see like my nieces and nephews that I haven't seen in 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, whatever it is now. It's like, why not?
Right.
Go and do something instead of, because I'm a vacationer. Like, I'd like to take a vacation and just sit on my back porch for a week and stare off into nothing. Like, that sounds like a great time to me. But you realize just that interconnection with people, that
it's important.
Even though you don't necessarily want it, because I can totally connect with you. Like, we're isolated. I'm cool with being isolated.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Fred said to me today, I didn't know if he was looking at the calendar, and he goes, "Man, you must really love me." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "We have Kate and Kyle all day today. They're going to be hanging out. And next weekend, Chad and Mandy are going to be here. That's 2 weekends back to back where you're like socializing." And I was like, I know. Don't expect anything out of me the Sundays. Like, because it is and I like it.
Yeah.
But it's that I have to recharge.
Yeah.
And I have to recharge here. Like,
at your own pace.
Yes. And like, I mean, I can still socialize with them, right? But I only have so much energy.
Right.
And it can be filled with the greatest people of my life. And I still, if you need me to do it again, I need to recharge here.
I got to build my reserve back up.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
I'm a NiCad battery, not a lithium. God damn it.
Yeah. Like, I need to charge. Plug me in.
Fill that capacitor bank.
Yeah. Ooh, we're using electrical terms
there
on
we
us
go.
now. So, where are you going from here?
Honestly, we don't know. Like I told you, we keep getting this crazy idea of just selling the house because people are paying 30-40% over market right now. We could walk away with a decent chunk of cash and go buy an RV and literally just travel the world for a couple years. Like that. The more I keep saying it, the more that it sounds
pretty good.
Yeah, more appealing.
Just get you a good manual on the RV, so you know how to fix it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll bring you with us so you can fix it.
Oh, there we
Since
go.
you like to fix everybody else's cars. And...
Yeah. Well, we've talked about that too. I think it just sounds super awesome. That's one thing that we kind of, and I'll even say it, kind of like selfishly reflect on as getting married super young and having a kid fairly young. That, our kid would be 18 when I'm like 42, 43.
Yeah.
So now, like, I used to think 43 was really old, but now that I'm really close to being 43, I'm like, oh, I still feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Like by 43, unless something crazy happens, like,
right.
43 is that's not too bad. Like, we could, like, if we set ourselves up, having a business, or particularly as long as the internet,
Bitcoin,
or as long as like the internet like keeps working, and and the country doesn't completely collapse, like we could be 45 completely debt free, traveling around and just doing the business, whatever we wanted.
And occasionally you may have to just go hit Lowe's up for 6 months in a certain area just to make enough money to go
or something. Like I mean, we would just come back to this area because she has a lot of family here.
Yeah.
And obviously, well, it depends on if our daughter moves somewhere, because she wants to be, I don't think she wants to be like an actress, which I don't know how well that'll work out for her, but
singer, babe. She wants to be a performer.
That's true. Well, that's a different topic for a different day. But either way, go chase your dreams. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll just travel around. I don't know. Maybe Tony will make all his money and he'll quit all his jobs, and we can just start playing music and touring around and different things. Maybe, I don't know.
It's not too far away, man.
See, there you go.
Honestly, just taking as it comes right now. I would like to get out of the garage eventually. That's becoming a nuisance. We like to park in the garage, and we can't park in it when there's vehicles there. So that's a bit of a burden at the moment, but it's a good burden to have. Like, I don't want to sound like we're complaining.
Right.
People are coming in and we appreciate it, but I would like to be out of the house. Yeah. Yeah.
See, we've never had to deal with that because I've had way too many hobbies. It's where the garage has always been just.
I've never parked in a garage.
We have a 3-car garage.
Yeah.
And you still never parked in it because I have I have all my stuff, all my tools and all my things there. just fill up the garage.
I had heard somebody say that this is one of the only countries that people will literally pay $2,000 or $3,000 for a home with a 2 or 3 car garage and pack it full of junk and leave their $40,000 or $50,000 vehicle sit outside.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way.
I don't
until
think he was calling your stuff that you have in there.
Oh,
Oh no,
No,
that's
not
what
at
you
all.
Oh,
call
and
it.
definitely don't have a $40,000
Some people
vehicle.
have.
That's also true.
But it was just that we will literally, we'll go out and
Oh,
buy
yeah.
these expensive vehicles, leave them sit outside so that we can store the junk that we won't throw away.
Mm.
Or,
Oh.
whatever. We just keep collecting.
Yeah. See, mine's not like that. Mine's not junk. But I totally see people that do
There's
that. all
at
the
least
time.
a fourth of it full of Amazon boxes. For
Well, yeah,
sure.
but
Yeah, but you got to have fire starter.
Kindling, yeah.
Yeah.
I can get rid of that
That's
easy.
true.
But mine's all like, I realized because when I was young, I used to like collect tools, not collect them, but like I would be like, oh, I got to do this job. Well, that means I have to have this tool. So like, I remember it was shortly after we moved here, and like I organized the garage, and I looked around. I'm like, this is like a 60-year-old's garage. Like I have enough like collected tools and things and everything. I'm like, Jesus, like, but if something comes up, if like a water pipe fails, or I need to fix a drywall, or I need to
Brake
build,
line.
yeah, or like I need to fix a car, or I ripped out our deck recently to do some stuff. Like, oh yeah, I just go to my garage and grab the tools.
Bro,
It has saved us a lot.
here's the real litmus. Do you have old Folgers cans or Maxwell where you keep your screws in your
I
Say
have one.
yes.
I have one.
Say yes.
every 60-year-old has,
I have
has
a-
that in his shop.
I have a bucket or two of screws and bolts.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
And they're just random, right? Like it's not.
Yeah, I tried sorting them the other. I
Did you
tried
have
sorting
Kyrie
last
try
year.
'em?
Yeah,
Try to sort
and then now they're just in a bucket of random like.
Dude, you gotta
Rusting
transport them into the
screws.
coffee can though.
Yeah, maybe that's
the
what it is.
ticket.
Well, I used to have like them all in,
Folgers.
like
Yeah.
slider.
It's Folgers.
yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, also I have knife stuff too. Like half of my garage is knife equipment.
Yeah,
So
and a
I don't know.
golf simulator.
yeah, and a simulator in the other.
Oh, you do have that, don't you?
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I have a lot of hobbies.
Mhm.
She's like fucking asshole.
And that's why we can't park in the garage.
That's why we
Yeah.
can't park in the garage. Yeah.
But, I do hear coworkers talking about they had to have somebody come in and fix this in their house or this in their house or, this was $4,000. And I'm like, your husband can't fix that? Because that's all I know. You just are used. And my dad was the exact same way.
Right.
He figured it out. Like, we've never had somebody in here to repair something in our house. And
Yeah. I guess we haven't. Huh?
Ever.
Even when we
even
decided.
when we were in the old house.
Yeah. And even when we decided to put the pool in, I was like, I feel like
No.
I-
No.
Do
Yeah,
it.
don't do
I
it.
will
That's-
pay for absolutely every single service that somebody can provide that I cannot provide because I will be upset that it's not done perfect. Like
Yeah, that's-
I will pay
we
that.
tried to replace that sink in the kitchen that one time.
Okay, so we've gotten into a couple projects and we're like, this is why we don't do projects
We're in
together.
way over
Like,
our heads.
You need that reminder every now and then.
Yeah. No, I could see that. That was probably the pool. The pool worked out. Honestly, for like the first 6 months of having the pool. And the only reason that I was able to have the pool, thanks to the pandemic and the government handing money out.
Yeah.
But it was like, I remember to like all the way to like the next spring when I opened the pool back up, it was like, all right, is it going to blow up?
Is it ready?
Is it gonna crash? Like every single winter storm we had, I'm like, all right,
How's
What's-
this play out?
how does this play out? Yeah, like what's gonna break? Like we're gonna destroy this. We've enjoyed it for 2 summers now, and it's still standing. So for now,
It was a day
it was
putting those sides
We,
out.
I say we installed one. I was still in high school, and I was like, I'd never do that job again. Like we had to sand out there trying to smooth it out and get the liner in and make
Yeah.
sure that it was flat. I'm
that
like,
liner's a real bitch
Yeah,
to do
that's
above ground
terrible.
pull with the liner. Yeah,
That's terrible.
I remember when I was a kid, we had an above ground pool, and it was my dad's very similar in that regard. Maybe I'm very similar to him. Rather,
Yeah.
that he does. Like he built the house that I spent like my real young childhood in. Like him and his buddies. Like,
Okay.
literally dug the basement, laid the brick, everything. Like dug the well. He rented equipment to dig a water well.
Yeah.
And so he did all that. But he's like set this pool up, and then at one point a trailer came off the hitch and went through the side of a pool,
Mm.
and it was
Yikes.
it's a bad day when you have like 30,000 gallons of water
Yeah.
like spraying all over your place. You're like, what are you gonna do about this? I don't know, but
You don't mow for 2 weeks either.
yeah, it's
Honestly,
it's
the rest of the summer because you just burned out the yard, so you just get to stare at that nice brown spot in the yard.
That's what we talked about, having like a yard here for a long time, and it was like, there's just too much work. I got way too much stuff going on. I stopped mowing like a third of my yard because I was like, what am I mowing all this damn grass for? Like, I'm just gonna plant trees and let it turn in the woods. Like, this is too much mowing.
My parents, I think 2 years ago, spent like a ton of money redoing all of their landscaping on their house. And
Big
then
money.
like 6 months ago, that big oak tree, they've got this huge, massive oak tree in their front yard, and it keeps getting into the sewer line that runs out to the house. Well, it finally got bad enough they had to actually dig up the whole line and replace it all the way from the house out to the street, tear up the whole street all the way across. So they had to dig up the concrete and re-pour concrete through their street. Like, that was how extensive the job was. But they had just done all this landscaping,
like
got their
re-turfed and
grass.
everything. Like, they came out with like the liquid sprayer,
Sprayed the
for the
grass.
greens. Yeah, like it was the good stuff.
And that's why I have thistles in our flower beds, because I fucking.
But they came out with the good stuff and had to tear it all up within
And they said
a year.
it's a mess now. Like, it's just a disaster.
And you
It's
can't
so
redo
heartbreaking.
the spread.
You can reseed it. They want to sell their house in the spring,
that's
and
what
so they're
okay.
like, we can't wait to spray seed it again. We have to sod it.
Jeez. Well, that's the problem. Not like you said, like buying a house and doing the RV thing.
Yeah.
Like, which is a phenomenal idea, because like it was before this, the property values around here started ticking up, and I feel like someone had a realtor or somebody like mentioned to us like, oh, you could sell your house for like,
Have you ever
like 25% more than what you bought it for, like, but yeah, great, but
Where do we go?
where am I gonna?
what next?
That's
Where's
our
I gonna
issue
live?
right now. Is like,
But
well,
if you
and
live
then
in an RV.
well, so the other issue is like
Problem solved.
my mom stays with us still. Like,
Oh, right.
she lives on the other side of the house, and I'm like, I could move this house in a heartbeat. We put it on the market, it would be gone in a minute.
Yeah.
But I can't just be like, hey, we're out.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, she could stay with my sister, but their house isn't built for that situation. So I can't just roll out and expect, hey, you've got like 2 week notice to figure out what you're doing.
You're evicted.
But I'm telling you right now, if we could sell that house,
Just get her a trailer, and then you could attach the trailer onto the RV, and
you get the camper side. Yeah.
That's all.
The toy hauler.
She's a small lady.
Oh, yeah. She'd fit.
Yeah. She'd be fine. I don't know if she'd be. happy
We'll just
with
be one
that
of those
deal.
RVs pulling a camper. She'll have the camper in the back. We'll have
Yeah.
the RV
Right,
in the
exactly.
front.
Exactly.
I wanted a van for a long time. The vans that you can just you gut, and you have a refrigerator, and you have a bed, and
Like the Express van, like the Chevy
Yeah.
Express,
Yeah,
or
they
like
make it
the
awesome.
Astro, or
Yeah.
and it's
just
so
redoing it?
cool.
Yeah.
Who was Chad Bueller?
Chad Bueller, yeah, he had a
Who
video
owns? Doesn't he own Vitruvius?
Studio Vitruvius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah, the tattoo shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has like a van like that. He's like big into photography and stuff. So he's traveled around a bunch, and like he actually had.
They
That's some
bought it,
pretty
and
awesome
stripped it, and put
He
it
has-
on. Like, he had insulation and
Yeah.
like
You
Those,
can do all kinds.
those overland vans are sweet.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It'd be super awesome. To do something like
We
that.
seen a TikTok, and they had bought an old U-Haul and completely gutted it and turned it into like this safari off-road. Like, they put tires on it and everything. Like, this thing was dope. Did the inside with a bed, mini kitchen and stuff. I'm like, Kate.
Kyle needs to stay off TikTok and
That's-
stop watching these
Yeah,
videos.
that's a lot of work though.
Well, I'm not saying
Or
I'm
a
doing
lot
it.
of
I will
money.
pay
Oh.
somebody else to do it.
Bitcoin.
After we sell the house for
Yeah, oh, there you
40% more than it's worth right now.
Yeah, you could build a badass bus with that.
Yeah.
van. I've always wanted to get like a school bus, but you can't go off road with that.
Well, you could go mini school bus.
No, you can.
Yeah.
I actually saw one that they converted to
like a dualies,
full
four-wheel
off-road
drive.
mud tires,
That'd be
6-wheel
badass.
some
drive.
44s.
Lift truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what kind of gas mileage?
Who cares? Who cares?
3 miles to the gallon.
Yeah, miles a smile. This guy.
That would be awesome though. Just the hard part. I feel like the hard part though is like to drive around. Like, to where do you park it? Like, to find places that you
Truck
can,
stops.
I guess.
I don't know. Like, that was my first thought. Or national parks.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess you're talking like a giant Twinkie. I was thinking like short bus.
Giant
Or,
Twinkie. Yeah.
you get a short bus and throw some tires and redo the inside. Yeah.
He did. I feel like, who was it? I feel like I heard a podcast with Tom Green was doing that.
Really?
Yeah, he got like one of those. it wasn't like a bus, but it was like a big van.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a company that did it for him, but he actually had I want to say he had like podcast equipment and stuff in it, and he had like a satellite that he was able to like
travel,
do that and like and do a podcast out of it and travel around, and like that'd be.
People do it with school buses too, like old
That's
school
what
buses.
we're talking about. Well, we kind of were.
I just meant school.
Oh,
Yeah, just
yeah.
Wait, you look kind of creepy though, with just like blacked out windows driving around
totally.
a school bus.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, or it's like, is that a prison bus?
Well,
What
you
is that?
would have to paint it. Or
You'd have to
you'd
paint it and put some curtains on it.
leave the district school down the side of it and everything.
That'd be weird.
Yeah, no.
Doesn't Tim Pool have one of those vans?
Oh yeah, he does. He got one of those too because I think he got it right around COVID.
Yeah.
If you go down a little further down Route 3, we can buy an ice cream truck.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Have you guys seen it?
Hey
there, cow. Have you guys seen it? That little. It used to be like the coupon store. You know, they used to have all the sign out front that told you they had like umpteen millions of boxes of cereal and stuff on Route 3 on the left hand side.
Is it like a bulk food store?
Oh, what is out there? Right before Hunting Road.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, they're a car dealership now.
Yes, that is a car dealership
Yeah.
now. They used to do
Where it was like discount groceries.
Yes.
And it was like, I am not going into your house for
Right.
discount groceries.
Well,
I don't know what's going on there, but it is not kosher.
that was sketchy.
Yeah.
It was like couponing though. Like she had
Yeah,
like
it was.
so
I feel
many,
much more comfortable if they're selling cars now for
Right.
whatever reason.
right. But there's an ice cream truck there. We could totally flip.
It's not a bad idea.
I'm gonna have to look for that next time I go by there.
It's sitting back in the back by the garage.
Oh, do they have like a?
It's it's definitely creepy. Like
you
it's
see it all the way back there. Did you like
He's
stop?
thought
to
about
look?
this for a minute.
He's like, there's an ice cream truck.
He's
I
been
wonder-
waiting to break it to you. That this is
Yeah,
yeah,
that's-
This is the first I've
That's
heard
the-
of this
that's
ice
the
cream
deal.
truck
Yeah.
idea.
That's
Dude,
not a
what if he did like a THC CBD psilocybin infused ice cream for adults?
Jesus. You just hit the jackpot.
You'd have to
Dude.
have some kind of like lawn chairs that like pop out of the side so they
Yeah,
can just kind of like
absolutely.
sit here. Like
Kind of like
remo-
Columbus, where you go down and buy that like bike, and you guys can pedal or whatever. What is that? The party? It's like a party
Yeah,
bus,
yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
but you put lounge chairs on the back of that and just let them.
yeah, I feel like you have to have some kind of space,
Yeah.
some safe space for people after you jack them
Seatbelt.
up with
You gotta-
THC and so
Yeah.
seatbelt. Yeah.
Recliners.
So you don't fall off the face of the earth.
You have to put a nap maximum amount of time, like max 20
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
But it's mobile too, and then you just pair that with our brewery / dog park, and then you just check all boxes.
That's not a bad
Puppies,
idea.
beer.
THC.
and
Yeah.
and psychedelics.
Sounds like a good day to me.
I like it. It's a really good day.
Just figured everything out right there.
The whole world
Figured out.
solved.
Figured out.
Problem solved.
Done.
Good.
Everybody would probably be a lot happier.
It would be.
If everybody smoked or had some kind of or some form of THC, probably.
Maybe. I think there's some people that don't deal with it
Or
well, but-
mushrooms.
Mushrooms,
Or,
whatever it
yeah.
is.
you know,
Or
CBD.
beer, or their
or
dogs.
beer.
Yeah.
Or-
Or the
right?
dogs.
Yeah, honestly, whatever your fix is,
Whatever.
Yeah.
just
Right.
get it. Just
Yeah,
get it. Like
Whatever it is.
everybody's got a fix. But,
Yeah. As long as it's not an unhealthy amount
Yeah.
to fix it.
Constructive.
Constructive.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can see you guys are at least constructive and the progress you've made. And that's super inspiring to me.
Yeah. Thank
So-
you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Man, I don't know how better way to really end it than
I like it.
just appreciate the inspiration and best of luck to you.
Oh, wait, first, Kyle, I did put your Instagram up that you could see on YouTube for a hot minute, but where can they find you if someone's not on YouTube watching this?
Not on YouTube. We can go to Facebook. The page is Fife's Auto Detailing LLC,
Okay. And that's the same on Instagram as well.
and it's the same on the Instagram.
I'll make sure
Yep.
to link it all in the description and whatnot, and they can just get a hold of you whenever. And
Yeah,
then-
absolutely. Send messages, call, text, Facebook, DMs, whatever's easiest for you. We're taking it all. So
there you go, folks. Slide in the DMs.
Slide
if you need
in.
a clean car
for a clean car.
for a clean car. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Remember, check out the website chronic-curiosity.com to join us at the forum, have some fun, interaction, pick you up a comfy t-shirt, or if you just want to support the show and donate, all that is on the website as well. Thank you. Until next time. See ya.